Ali Borealis here. I have found just a jackpot of a thrift store
where I've found gold and sterling jewelry. The gold and sterling jewelry that I'm finding there is just mixed in with all the other costume jewelry at costume jewelry prices.
It's about 2 towns over from me, so I don't get in there that often. But I was in there about a year ago, and this was my first score.
Now the pendant on this is not gold, and the stone in the middle of that is glass. But this is how I found the necklace, and you can see the mark on it, 14K Italy, and the clasp is stamped 585, which is the European stamp for 14 karat gold. Now I researched this maker's mark, and it belongs to the H.W. Burdick Company. And they make some pretty unique pieces of jewelry, as you can tell with this one. It's not just a gold necklace. It has these little bitty white gold beads on it as well. Now the price I paid on this after taxes was $4.12. And I sold it for $165.02. That was last year, and now that I know the treasures that this thrift store holds, I'll show you what I've picked up this year so far. We have some nice little things in here. I'm gonna start with the sterling pieces. So I have these concho style earrings, and these are stamped sterling on the back. Plain as day. One of them has a sterling back to it, the other one does not. But you can see, I'm not clear how they overlooked it. But I think this one's not stamped. Maybe that's just the one that they were looking at. But these are beautiful and in really shiny, clean condition. I think this one has like a really tiny dent right there, but it's not that noticeable. For these fantastic made in Mexico sterling concho earrings, I'm gonna give my viewers a price of $22. The other sterling piece we have is this cutie. This is a peacock, and I love the little dangle movement that it has. If you turn it over, I could tell it's really old because it has this C-clasp happening right here. So the C-clasp was primarily used from about 1850 to 1910 around the Victorian era, and antique is anything over 100 years old. So this is really an antique silver filigree peacock brooch. And it does test as sterling. So for my viewers, I'm gonna do $22. Moving on to the gold. The next thing I saw in the thrift store were these studs, and I only paid $4.95 for them. And I've mentioned in another video, one of the things that I look at to try to kind of gauge, is it going to be gold, is it not going to be gold, is if the back posts are gold colored. If they're not gold colored and the fronts are gold, they're probably not gold. But any of these that have gold posts along with the front of them being gold, I at least want to take a peek at them. And these in particular, you know, I bring my magnification loupe, just a really simple one that fits into my purse, nothing major. I always have one on me. Not only were the earring backs stamped 14 karat, but if you look at the post with a magnification loupe, this little part of the post right here is in very tiny writing, will sometimes have a stamp on it, especially if it's gold, or sometimes the sterling ones do. So these are definitely 14 karat. I thought maybe those little bitty stones were diamonds, but when I got them home and tested them, they're just little crystals that are in there. So for these 14 karat earrings with 14 karat backs, I'm gonna do $78 for my viewers. And then I found this single earring with the back on it. And the post on this one is stamped 14 karat. So I tested the little stone when I got home. You can see with these presidiums, you have to get that really tiny, slim tip right on the stone. Oh, that's touching the metal. That beep is touching the metal. Okay, that was a good one. So it looks like it's registering as spinel. So I thought it might be a diamond, but it has a spinel. I often wonder if, I said these were like a, where is it? I said these were like a test as like a glass crystal. And this one tests as spinel. I often wonder in the jewelry store where they're sold, if they're being sold as diamond. I just think it's unusual to have glass stones set in 14 karat. Interesting thing I found with this one, I said the post is stamped 14 karat. This is stamped 14 karat at the bottom, and the top is stamped opalite. Now, opalite or opaline, they're interchangeable, is actually glass. It's man-made and simulated to look like an opal. Now, this is by no means an opal or an opalite or an opaline. I think it just has the wrong back on it. I'm selling it without the back, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So if anyone wants this 14 karat stud, I'm gonna do $20 on it. And then I found these. These also have gold post on them, and I'll show you. I'll take the little backs off here, and you can see that this piece was added. So this is a whole separate piece from the actual stud. The studs are not stamped, so I thought I would just take them home and test them, and they do test as 14 karat. They're pretty opal earrings, and I especially like how they're mounted. Do you see how raised they are? That's, to me, is an unusual mounting. I purchased this single stud and these opal ones. They were all there at the same time. I just feel like maybe it was the same owner, and this backing somehow ended up on this single stud when it actually goes on these earrings, which would make these earrings opalite. What do you guys think? The Presidium doesn't test opal, so it's hard to say, but that would be my guess. So I added the 14 karat opalite back to this one, and the other back is 14 karat gold filled. So I'm gonna do $78 for this pair of earrings. So the last thing I have are these add-ons, and I suspected that these were also gold. And I got them home, and I eventually found a very faint mark on them, and they're also 14 karat gold. So if you want these, they're hand hammered, and they go with a lot of different type of stud earrings. And I'm gonna make these available to my viewers for $95. I appreciate you joining me today. If you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. It's free.